Anaheim Public Library STEAM Adventure Program. My name is Mr. Juan, and it's been so long since I've seen all of you. Hi, how you doing? Hope you're doing great, and I hope you're having some wonderful holidays and having some fun treats and playing with your new toys or new stuff. And today, we're going to do a fun holiday activity. Today, we're going to be making flying Christmas trees. Now let's get started. So you're probably wondering, what is a flying Christmas tree? Well, I mean, how else do you get rid of a Christmas tree after Christmas? Do you just throw it out to the trash? No, they just fly away. I'm joking. No. Instead, what we're going to be making is a paper airplane with a straw that's going to be made to resemble a Christmas tree. As you can see, this one has lights. All you need for this activity is some scissors, construction paper, 1 or 4 straws, and some tape. And markers are optional in case you want to decorate your tree. Now, you're probably wondering, what makes a Christmas tree fly? It's really simple. The same properties that go into a paper airplane go into this flying Christmas tree. The big one is thrust. When I throw this flying Christmas tree, I'm going to be generating thrust. That's energy that's going to be leaving my hand and going to the Christmas tree. Afterwards, drag is going to take into consideration, or air resistance. That is a force that acts against the Christmas tree. That's what's going to make it go. Basically, imagine air fighting against the Christmas tree so that way it doesn't fly. But in this case, it'll slow the airplane down to the point where the energy I provided it will no longer exist and it'll just fall to the ground. Now after that, lift is going to take into consideration. The hoops in this Christmas tree are going to help catch some of the air that's going to, when it's falling down, and it's going to help push it up a little bit more so that way it lasts a little bit longer in the air. And finally, gravity. Gravity is what keeps us all down, keeps us all grounded in the earth, and it's going to be constantly pushing down on this Christmas tree, so that way it comes to the ground and stops. Now, all these factors are going to be taken into consideration, but first, let's build our Christmas tree. And in fact, I'm going to show you how to build 2 versions of this fun activity. Now, let's get started. We're going to be using construction paper here that's green, so I can match our green Christmas tree. However, you can use construction paper that's a different color, or copy paper that can be colored in green. It's all up to you. It's all about personal choice in this matter. And all you have to do is cut 2 strips of paper, 1 short, 1 long. Now let's get started. Always be careful when using scissors. And the key thing you want to do is you want to make sure that it is pretty wide, but not too wide. This will be important for generating lift so it can catch more air. Now, if you want to make it into a real Christmas tree, you can also cut down or cut off a 3rd piece to start put in the middle. That'll actually generate more lift that'll help push the air up on your Christmas tree a little bit more. But in this case, we're only going to be using 2 pieces of paper. The next thing we're going to do is, this is the optional portion, is we're going to draw designs on our Christmas tree. This is something you would typically put on a regular Christmas tree, so in my case, I'm going to put some lights. So I'm just gonna, these black lines are gonna be lights, and I'm gonna add some colors to represent the lights themselves. There you go. Purple's another favorite color of mine. Some more red. Okay, now comes the next important part, is taping it all together. Now, what you want to do is you want to grab, this is going to be the same for both pieces of paper, but what you want to do is you want to grab it and line them up like this. Now that's one way of doing it, or if you think that it might not work out as well, what you can do is you can overlap it like so. It'll make a smaller hoop, which will affect the lift as well. And this is something you can do as an experiment. Make different size hoops to see which ones last longer in the air, which ones just fall straight to the ground, all sorts of fun stuff like that. I'm going to make one that overlaps like this, so just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tape, and I'm going to tape pieces together. I'm going to do a piece of tape on the inside, right there. That'll hold it nice and tight. And then a piece of tape on the outside. Like so. Oop. There we go. Like that. I can also do it like this to ensure that it sticks together. That's another way. Or I can even do it like this. Now here's a fun fact. All this tape is actually adding a small amount of weight that will actually affect how far the Christmas tree will fly. So either you can add a ton of tape or a little bit of tape and see how much that affects it. For my big hoop, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just make it not as much though, like about that much, just so I can see. I'm going to like that. Also, it does not matter what kind of tape you use, it's all a matter of availability and preference. Now, for our last part, you're going to tape your straw. Also, it does not have to be plastic, it can be paper, there's whatever's available at your house. And you're gonna tape it either to the outside or the inside of the hoop. This will also affect how the plane or how the Christmas tree flies. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did earlier. I'm gonna tape my straw right there. I'm gonna just like that. I'm gonna put double tape just to be safe. And then I'm gonna do the same thing in here, right there. And ta-da! You got yourself a flying Christmas tree. Oh, this one's a little bit, it's a very big Christmas tree. For this one, it's the same thing. You're gonna still cut your long piece and your short piece. However, you're going to use 4 straws instead of just the one. And I'm gonna show you how to do that. Same rules. Cut your short piece right here. Cut your long piece. Same thing. I'm not going to design it this time just because I want to save a little bit of time. But you get the idea. Careful where the tape flies. And actually the only real difference I'm going to make is I'm going to have this hoop be a little bit smaller. So it's a smaller hoop. Hopefully it'll keep the Christmas tree in the air a little bit longer. For this case, I'm also going to put the Christmas or the straws inside the Christmas tree on the inside here, but on the outside over here. You can start forming your hypothesis now as you're building this. See which one you think will fly better. I think it'll be this one, but who knows? Maybe this one will be the winner. And you want to try to make them even apart, nice and even apart. So we now have our 3 Christmas trees ready. As you can see, this one did not come out so great, so we're going to refer to this one as the Charlie Brown. This one we're going to refer to as Old Faithful because it's the first one I built. And this one we're going to call Lightning just because I hope this one flies the best. And now we're actually going to fly these ones. So let's test them out. So we're going to fly Old Faithful first. Now I'm going to generate thrust by throwing it, and we're going to see how far this guy flies. So 1, 2, 3. It flew pretty well, better than I expected. It flew a little bit, and then once the energy ran out, it just kind of floated back and forth like a feather. So it lost all its thrust, and it just flew back to the earth because of gravity. Now let's try lightning over here. All right, 1, 2, 3. Because this is loose, it forced the airplane to fly this way because the air it was catching was pushing it this way. That's a very important thing to consider when building an airplane. And let's try the Charlie Brown. All right, 1, 2, 3. And I hope you didn't see that, but it flew really, really well. Now, I hope that you create your very own flying Christmas trees, and each one is very unique and very different, and I would very much like to see how your Christmas trees fly. So if you have any, please send videos or pictures with your parents' permission to the Anaheim Public Library Facebook or Instagram page. We would love to see them, and I hope you had a fun time. I know I did. I hope to see you again, and I hope you have a great holiday. Bye-bye.